Hello everybody and welcome back to the automation campaign. I hope you're all doing well, and this is the fourth episode now, where pretty much we are losing money right now, but we've got two very important cars coming up. One sort of premium luxury focused and one workhorse. And in today's episode we're going to focus on setting ourselves up a little bit for the future. By that I mean we're going to pre-design some engines, and we are also going to facelift the part because it's just losing us money at this point. I think it's mainly because we don't have a factory big enough for it, but it is what it is. And long story short, we're just going to work on updating factories and making new factories and facelifting this car, making new engines, that kind of stuff. So without further ado, let's first facelift the part. So here we are going to create a new facelift. I'm not entirely sure what I want this facelift to be just yet. It's just going to be a refresh of the actual vehicle, maybe a couple little tiny design tweaks, but nothing too serious because the car did release just a couple years ago. So I think what I want to do is I want to try and improve the handling a little bit. I feel like that is going to be a bit of a sore spot for this car, but because it is, I mean, it's on the edge of sporty, but then it's also got this huge drop off for understeer. So maybe we can work something out here. So we've got progressive suspension. That's a big plus. Drivability and comfort comes up higher. We have standard safety, but we're not going to use it. Yeah, there's a lot of little cool things here. We've got the basic radios now. We've got phonograph. No phonographs, we're just going to use the standard radios as we have been doing this whole time. We still have the options for that extra drum kit, or that extra drum brake. We can make the tyres wider. We're not going to go radial just yet, I don't see a point doing that. But what we are going to do is make our cross-ply tyres a little bit wider. So I think at this point, what we want to do is we also want to facelift the engine, as stupid as it sounds. Actually, do we want to facelift the engine? I kind of do, because I want to make sure I can get more production units out the engine, but I'm not sure how, if that's a thing to do right now, because the engine and the car is actually so new that there isn't really much point to doing it, but we'll see what we can do. I will work on little tweaks, doing a little tiny redesign, and then I'll be back with you guys shortly. And here we are doing the facelift on the very first car that we've ever produced, and honestly I didn't want to do too much, but I also didn't want to leave it the way it was before, so I decided that vent that was over the rear wheels needed to go to keep that line flowing. So instead I've decided to move that on to the rear boot lid, and yeah, I feel like it turned out a lot better than it did before. Another little thing, as you'll see here, is I've put some screws into the bumpers and added little bits of detail here and there just to make the car feel a little bit more complete. But I feel like this car turned out to be... I'm really happy with the quality of this car, so I can't wait to see what this car does for the company in the future. And yeah, I'll see you guys shortly. It's not much time lapse left, so I'll see you guys soon. Alright, so this is the best I could get it, and I'm quite happy with the results. It's pretty much better in every single way, apart from it's a little bit less prestigious, and that it's a little bit less utilitarian. But drivability, comfort, safety, everything has come up, which is super awesome to see. And I've done little things to do, little redesign stuff. So I've added these sort of crash protectors, these bumper protectors. I've added these little bolts into the bumper, giving it a little bit more design. And these are just there for safety. That's the whole point of these. And the rear, you'll notice that this massive vent is gone. That has now been moved up here. I've made a custom one up here, which I feel like works a lot better than it being here. It makes this line much more... It makes it a lot more visible. You're much more able to flow with the car visually. But yeah, so we've also done the same thing on the back with the bumper and the bolts, and yeah, that's pretty much the extent of it. I've moved this this curve, I've moved it up a little bit to match it up with the new bumper. But yeah, in the end, I feel like this has worked out very well, and all in all, I think this car is going to be a hit. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the same thing for the 800cc variant. Pretty much just pull this model in and then put the engine into it, and don't tweak it very much. Tweak it to get it to a point where we're happy with it, but yeah, we're gonna go do that now, and I'll see you guys shortly. So this car pretty much follows the same platform, pretty much everything the same. I haven't tweaked the gearbox, I haven't tweaked the brakes, because it all seemed perfectly fine to me. And in the end, it has a bit less drivability than the 110. We can actually directly compare it to it, so we can compare it. It is more comfortable, and it is a lot more efficient, but apart from that, it's pretty much just it being a little bit worse, which is sort of what we want it to be. We want this to be more of an entry-level car. And I feel like a lot of these stats have to do with the fact that the engine is massively downsized compared to the one in the 110. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the car up for sale, and we're going to see what we can do about designing some future engines. So I'll see you guys in a sec. So designing, not designing, setting up the factory should be very easy. What we're going to do is we're going to hopefully do a little bit of a retooling for the engine, but it seems that we can't, so we have to stick with what it is. What we're going to do is we're going to go into the factory. We're going to have to retool this factory for the new car and well, hopefully make better cars, I guess. So we're overworking the engine factories, which is not great. So let's have a look here. Is there a way we can maybe pull this down a little bit so we don't produce as many? Well, this is losing us money. If we reduce tooling quality, we'll produce less cars. And increasing QA threshold also produces less cars. But we want to try and see what sort of profit we can make out of this car. So this is really annoying because I really want this to work. So we're gonna have to bring tooling down to... Oh, now we're losing money again. That has to do with probably the fact that we haven't got enough cars. But if we bring down tooling, we actually make money somehow, which is quite crazy. But yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to keep it 50-50, increase the QA threshold. We should still be making a decent profit per car on this because this is going to be our mass selling car, and the engine factory will be overworked a little bit. We can't really help that, but we'll see what we can do when it comes to a future date. And it seems we're already making green. I just can't see what. Ooh, that's a nice tidy profit that I see here. Oh, it's the same problem that we had last time. Let's have a look here. So we're going to sell this car, the big one, for 6,200. We want to increase the price a little bit because the last one was pretty much just selling for nothing, as it seems, because it was people could afford a car twice the price of this. So there you go, we have a 6,200 and 6,000, so hopefully that should balance out the scales a little bit, so 26% go to the 80, and yeah, I quite like this. I'm not going to worry about this too much, mainly because I don't know, stock in shifts, estimated shifts, I mean, everything seems to be working, I guess, I hope. So this... the whole entire update will take, how long? 10 months. If we can get that done a little bit faster, say in 8 months. There you go, that means we should... oh, we can also increase work, so we can get this we can get this done really quickly now if we put a little bit of pressure into it. Can we get it done instantly? Ah, oh, that was just a try. So what we're going to do is we're going to get it released in 4 months, which will be crazy. Which means that we should then have a car to sell at a decent price. And yeah, that should be it. So we're not going... Oh, we might have to take a loan out for this. But no, we're not going to take a loan out. It's only 4 months. Project... Or do we take our loan? Yeah, screw it. I mean, we're only paying back a little bit and the loan interest is only like $1 million. So let's take out a loan for this. 120% loan, because yeah, we can afford the interest rates and we can afford everything. It should be fine. So let's sign off, and yeah, let's watch this car come into production. We should still be losing money from what I understand, because these factories do take up a lot of money. And production completed. Oh, these cars aren't actually... Oh, the outer style is also released now. Oh, 12 million. Ooh, and now the actual part is now released. So this is making us money. This is making us money. This should be making us money when it releases. And yeah, so what we're going to do is I reckon we wait until the end of the year so we can get all these extra V engines, so the V8s and the V6s, because I kind of want to design a V6 workhorse engine instead of having this inline engine for the future. And yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to let this play out until 1956, and then we should be able to produce some, or design some new engines. So I'll see you guys in a sec. And so it is now the following year, and we have been sort of on an on-off of making profit and losing some money. We'll have to wait until this car releases, because I feel like the factory for this is going to take so much money from us. So yeah, what we're going to do now is we're going to design a couple new engines. So this inline engine, I think we're going to drop these engines. These are pretty much just the leftover war engines. That's how I'm going to envision that. Well, that's how it's supposed to be envisioned. Is that this is the rest of the tooling from the war engines that this company has had. And what we're going to do now is we're going to completely redesign the whole entire engine lineup for the company. So let's get right into it. So for this first engine, we're going to design the small engine, and after that we'll design the big boy engine. So let's have a look here. So let's go into Variant Designer. I'm not entirely sure whether I want to do a inline 3. Oh, we could do a flat 4. That could be something. And then if we have a rear engine car, we could really make space of the... We could really use with the extra space. So do we go... yeah, screw it. We'll do a flat 4 engine. We'll do overhead cam, we'll do 2 valves. This is just the basic single, this is just the basic engine. We're going to do harmonic dampeners, we're going to just do cast everything. We don't want this engine to be too expensive, we want it to actually be producible. So we're going to do about 7.8 compression, reduce sportiness on the cams a little bit to around a normal level. Reduce springs and lifters. Turbos, we don't have them yet, but I can't wait until we do. And I reckon we use a twin barrel standard low intake, I think. We could do twin carb, but that would make no sense. So or we could do single barrel, but or we could do an eco. We could do a twin eco, but no. And we'll see what the eco says, and then what we're going to do is we're going to tune this for 90 octane, because slowly the fuel quality should be coming up. So we designed this for 90 octane. And I'm not sure future availability in years. Ah, so Helvetia, for example, does not have any unleaded fuel, and countries such, and the last country, I forgot what it's called now, has a surplus of super and ultimate fuel, which is very interesting, because if we go on leaded, we can do 110, we can do, yeah. We'll do normal, and we'll design it for 90 octane. This is just going to be the normal engine. We don't want it to be anything crazy. So we're going to... I want the peak RPM to be around mid, or peak power to be about 2000, 2500, somewhere in that range. Let the engine rev out a little bit, and let's actually make the engine a tiny bit smaller. So this is going to be the big engine. So we're going to turn this into a 1.5, I think. Because we want this engine to still have a bit of power, but we don't want it to be ridiculously big, so like that, that's fine. I'm happy with that. So let's have a look here. Exhaust, we're going to go with shortcast. It should be very simple to produce. We're going to do none, and we're going to do baffled, and let's reduce the size a little bit. And we're just going to do a single exhaust on this. This is not supposed to be anything, like I said, it's not supposed to be anything powerful or crazy. It's just supposed to be a decent engine to work with. And we do still have a lot of RPMs to be able to play with. So we'll do a 5200 RPM rev limit. And the engine appears to be decently fuel efficient, but we could get it a little bit better, I reckon. So if we reduce the cam profile, which seems to be doing absolutely nothing in stopping our power gains. This is interesting. So we're getting all the power down low now, or the torque down low, which is exactly where I want it. And we're still not losing that much in terms of power. In fact, we're actually gaining power now that I've been able to increase the compression. So we've got 8.0 compression. That's crazy for this time. So I'm really happy with the way this is turning out so far. We've nearly got 40 kilowatts of power, which is pretty much what I want. We're going to increase the quality on the engine because this engine will be produced in the future at some point. This isn't going to go into a car right now. So let's just increase the quality here, there, and everywhere. Do we need to increase the quality of this? No, I don't think we do, but this would be nice. We'd be able to make the engine more reliable, lighter, and more efficient and everything. And this engine is already almost 18% fuel efficient, which is kind of ridiculous at this point. We can increase the compression by 1 again, but the engine is beginning to knock a little bit. So we're going to take away one of the ignition timing, and we're going to add a little bit of a curve at the end so that the engine doesn't get revved to absolute crazy numbers. But yeah, I'm really happy with the way that this is turning out. Can we increase this now? No, sadly not. I would lean out the engine again because, like we did in the Avanti series, but turns out that was quite a bad idea. So yeah, I reckon this is a good start for a good baseline for this engine. Yeah, I mean, it's only a 2-valve with a single overhead cam, but for the time that is still very high tech. Eventually we want to produce twin cam, 4 valves, that kind of thing. And we will do once the turbos come, which will be a very exciting time because, I mean, we are still, I think, over 20 years away until we can get the turbos, but that's going to be a really fun time. So, yeah, I reckon I'm happy with this engine. And, yeah, let's have a listen. Let's have a little listen to it, actually. I reckon it'll sound a bit better than that 3-cylinder. It definitely sounds better, but it also seems that we are absolutely choking out our intake. So we're not getting enough air for the engine. I mean, we can go twin. I think we might need to go twin carb eco. Wow, that is a huge increase. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. I was not expecting that. 19% fuel efficiency and almost an extra 8 kilowatts of power, which is around 11-12 horsepower. Ridiculous. You know what? We are going to do it, and I reckon I think we're going to keep the size the way it is. It may reduce the power of our engine a little bit, but we definitely need that extra 0.5 fuel efficiency. We can really make some efficient cars now. People are going to want to buy these engines, so let's complete the design and produce. So this is the 1.5 liter. Let's produce a 1.2 liter, and that will be our so-called smaller engine. So let's have a look here. We are just going to hopefully reduce the width on this. Looks like we're gonna have to produce a 1.3 because I don't want to reduce the stroke, because I want to just give it some extra material to work with. So this is going to be the 1.3. I mean, it's still respectable, the 1.3, but it's just not as good. So let's see here. We can increase this, but the engine's the small engine is supposed to be more efficient in my eyes. So let's have a look. If we reduce this a little bit, I mean, the engine is definitely not supposed to be as powerful. So we need to tune this perfectly. Let's reduce this a little bit. I feel like the other engine is already on the brink of perfection. For this kind of car, because we are actually getting a less fuel efficiency. So 42 kilowatts of power. That's still a respectable number, but we are getting less fuel efficiency. But I believe if we, no, this engine shouldn't be any lighter because it's still using the original. It's a little bit. It's not. I'm surprised it's lighter because it'll have more material in it, but yeah, we're gonna have to make do with this. The material costs are 714 though, so it's more expensive than the other engine, and yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish up these engines. I'm happy with the way they are, and we shall go and design our bigger engine. And here we are. So in 35 months we shall have this engine finished. And that should be right for the beginning of 1959, which is when we want to produce new facelifts. We'll produce a new factory for this engine, and maybe even produce a new vehicle or two, and these engines will go into it. So that is a brilliant start. So we're not going to produce any factories for it. And what we're going to do is we're going to sign off. And only 15 million to design this engine, which is... that's really good actually. So in 35 months it'll be finished. 14 million to design it. 2 variants, which is enough for the time being. We are going to deactivate the loan, and we're going to sign off on it because 14 million spread over almost 3 years. That'll be, you won't even be able to tell that that's happening. So next thing we're going to do is we are going to design our big workhorse engine. So I'll see you guys in a sec. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take that box of 4 and squish it a little bit and turn it into a V8. Yeah, not what I was expecting either, but I feel like this is going to be the best outcome. So we have a 1.5 litre, so we have a 3 litre V8, which should be big enough, I hope. I've forgotten the size of the other engine now. So let's have a look. I believe this was 82, and then this one was something 0.3. I'm not sure anymore. Was it 81? I mean, whatever it was, I'll find it eventually. So maybe 83. But yeah, that's besides the point for the time being. What we're going to do is we're going to do harmonic dampeners, cast everything, because like I said, we need to make sure the engine is cheap enough to actually produce, or easy enough to produce. Reduce cam profile. We're going to reduce springs and lifters. And I think we're still going to use an eco barrel. I'll have a look at what the engine, how much the engine is complaining after I chuck that on. And yeah, so we're going to do a 5,200 RPM limit like we did with the box of 4. I think we're going to have a cast log. I almost want to say a cast log because it's a V8 and this would just be so hard to produce. So we'll do that for the time being. We'll have a look what that's saying. And it's already looking like a good engine. So it does have a lot of torque, which is precisely what we wanted to have. But I have a feeling that the intake is really choking out the engine. So if we go quad carburetor, quad carb V8 on an eco barrel. Bit of an interesting one. The headers are complaining, the exhaust is actually complaining a little bit now, so... But... yeah, I think what we're going to do is we're going to stick with the short cast. That should be fine. We'll do 109 kilowatts of power. This is a lot of power, by the way. I was not expecting to get this much power out of the engine, so... let's have a look. We can... if we reduce this, we should be able to get more low down torque, but we're also reducing all our power, so this seems to be the sweet spot right here. We're going to increase our compression. And it seems that we are building a pretty decent engine here. So, what should you stand? No. Oh, this is actually quite a flat curve, but we want the power down low. Or performance? No, we just want or compact. That's just going to choke everything out, actually. Yeah, the engine does cost a fair bit to make, which is not what I was expecting. But yeah. Oh no, I forgot to do all the quality, so we'll just do something like this. It's just basic quality adjustment. Reduce this a little bit. This wait, hold on. This needs to be a little bit more stronger, shall I say, more durable. But to be fair, it can handle 350 Newton meters of torque, and that should not be an issue. So we don't actually need to do that. Top end, we can always do a little bit of work on that. So yeah, funnily enough, this engine seems to be just as, if not more efficient than our boxer engine, which is not what I was expecting to say. So that seems to be the sweet spot right there. And we can increase the ignition timing again, so we're gonna leave it like this. I'm happy with this, and yeah, let's give the engine a little listen. I'm not sure what it'll sound like, but hopefully it'll sound good. So we might have to put another muffler on there. That is very loud. Maybe even a reverse flow one, but then we have so much production. Like, does it? Yeah, we'll have to do this. I mean, it still takes 95 months to design and produce this engine, so this engine's not going to come until way in the future. And then we also got to produce another engine on the side. So the smaller version of the 2.6 it'll be 2.6 litre V8. Oh yeah. But yeah, I'm happy with this engine. It has a lot of torque, which I'm pretty much what the aim of this engine was. And yeah, so let's complete this design and let's produce the second version. Right, so I didn't really want to bore you with the specific details of this engine, so I've pretty much just made it a 2.6 litre and then played around with it a little bit. I wanted the torque to be noticeably lower than the one from the 3 litre, because the 3 litre is the one that we want to sell. This is just going to be that entry level engine. And yeah, turned out alright. I didn't really do much. It's got the exact same parts on it. Apart from I've lowered the cam profile and lowered the springs and lifters a little bit. But yeah, apart from that, this is pretty much the exact same engine, so let's see how long it'll take to produce. Okay, so we pretty much have it available for 1960, which means we can then facelift and produce this different cars with this engine in it, which I am really looking forward to. And we're going to agree, and we're also going to take out a loan for this engine, a 120% loan. Just to make sure that we can cover the costs of the engine, while we may be losing, maybe gaining money. It depends on how it looks. So let's sign off on this engine. Now, these engines are looking to be our future power engine. So this is the future of this company. We're probably going to turbo the flat 4, have that be our standard regular engine, because the cool thing about it, because with a flat 4 you can have a really low center of gravity, and that's something I want to focus on when it comes to the handling and the power distribution of the car, of the cars in the future. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. So I guess we will then eventually produce the new engine in the successor of the Upart, and then facelift the outer style and put the new engine into it, although that's a long way away. So we may need to do a small little facelift along the way. And the Kunling, yeah, that will probably get the workhorse engine as well, unless we end up deciding that we want to have one a specific engine for automatic gearboxes and smooth power delivery and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm liking the way that this company is headed. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to end the episode. I've had a lot of fun making this for you once again. I'm really excited to be back. This is so awesome. So yeah, I hope you have an amazing day, and yeah, goodbye.